Welcome to LNG, local, national, and global. I'm Jemai Hakwani. Today, my guest is Joshua Boone, or Josh Boone. I think I can call him Josh Boone. Metro Core Division 8, and you're just put your name on the ballot, I think, last year, right?
That is correct.
Tell us a little bit about the process, okay? The reason why I do that is so that way people can learn as far as exactly how you go about put your name on the ballot as far as being candidate for judge. Because a lot of times I get questions like, well, how do they put their name on the ballot and how do they get, so these are the things that get answered in a show like this. So the first question would be, naturally, I mean, what is the process? So I'll let you explain a little bit, that way they get to hear from you.
Okay. So the process kind of comes down to the position that I'm running against. The sitting judge was currently appointed by the governor. In New Mexico, you have to run, if you're a judge, if you're appointed, you have to run in at least one general election.
I see.
So what I did was I did a general announcement that I was going to run against that particular division. In order to do that, you have to collect signatures from residents, registered voters in Bernalillo County. And I believe the minimum number was 962, somewhere around there.
For your division, right?
For my division.
And then the way I understand, you don't get to pick your division. They're already assigned to you because of the district you live in?
No. For judges, there's actually no specific division that correlates to a geographical area. It is all of Bernalillo County.
Okay.
So if you're a judge for Division 8, 9, 10, doesn't matter, you're still all of Bernalillo County. I think they do mostly the division numbers for organizational purposes for the Metro Court itself.
And I think it's different for district, right? Because it's not this, they have a different system. I know they go by divisions too, right?
Yeah, it's completely separate from district court. They are still all of Bernalillo County as well. Metro's all of Bernalillo, and each one, like I said, it's just for organization, just keeping track of judges and I think cases, so that they have an easier way of tracking everything.
So you decide, okay, I'm going to run for this division. You announce it, and then you go out and file the petition, all the petitions, right? You have to collect the petitions.
You have to, yes. So we decide, and you have to go out there, get so many signatures, and it's a process. Getting signatures and getting people to agree.
So what was
to
that
sign.
like? You went out there first time, right? And
I had somebody explain it to me, and it's almost asking somebody for their signature just so you can get on the ballot is almost like walking up to a complete stranger and asking them for $5.
It's very difficult. I have done it myself for other runs and stuff. Political runs, but nothing like yours. I recall it's pretty tough going up to people and saying, hey, could you sign a petition for me? Some of them asking you a question. Some are very nice about it, by the way.
There's actually a ton of people who, and I would say the majority of people that we talk to have actually been very, very polite about it. Even the people who didn't want to sign your petition or were of the wrong party to sign your petition, generally were more than happy to say, hey, sorry, I can't, or not now at this time.
And either party could sign it, or you have to be...
It has to be for the party that you
correct.
recommend.
Okay, so I think we understand that correct. And then once again, this is for individuals that are watching. They want to learn, okay, what the process is like. Because you have people that are been lawyers for many years. They've been practicing law, and they haven't thought about it. And then they see you coming in, and they say, well, that's not, I think I want to do this. So it's good for the process, I think, getting people in there, and then individuals. I always like to teach people. That's kind of my thing. I say, well, let's try to at least educate people, even if it's sake of the show. Grew up here? You spent many years?
I moved to Albuquerque about 18 years ago. So I came to Albuquerque specifically to go to college at the University of New Mexico. And that was back in 1996. I don't want to date myself here, but so back in 1996, I started my undergraduate degree, graduated in 2000. Got accepted into the University of New Mexico School of Law, graduated in 2004.
Very decent school?
At the time, it's a wonderful school. Their clinical program is phenomenal. I think right now it's still ranked, I think, a top 5, top 10 clinical program nationally.
Because we brag about our medical school here. I think the law school is pretty decent too.
The law school is getting right up there along with the medical school. I think in a few more years it's going to be definitely one of the top tier schools. And for the price, you can't beat it, especially for New Mexico residents.
affordable.
It is super affordable.
For the future law school
For the
students
future
there.
law students that want to come in and
that want
do
to come in.
this.
Yeah, you recommend it highly then, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then, okay, so you got into law, but then was there a reason you say you want to get into law? Or was this something that your parents talked to you about? Or?
No, my parents never really talked to me about going into law school. I kind of just got in when I graduated from my undergraduate degree. I was kind of lost and not really entirely sure what I was going to do or not going to do. I was working here at locally here at a restaurant that I had worked at my entire college career and through law school, or I'm sorry, just at that time through college. And I was just looking for different things. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to try and get a master's degree, and I wasn't really passionate about any master's program.
So you hadn't decided on law till you graduated?
Until I graduated.
Till your undergraduate. Usually because you do pre-law, right?
Right.
Pre-law. So you didn't do any. You went into political science, I think, right?
Yes.
And then that's where you. Okay, so you go ahead and take it from there.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do, and there was actually a very strong consideration on my part after I graduated to look at joining the military, because I wouldn't go in as an enlisted person. I'd go in as an officer, which seemed really interesting. Plus, they would pay for any schooling after
The GI
that,
Bill.
The GI
Correct.
Bill.
Yeah, it's yeah.
And my roommate at the time, he and I were talking, and I had a couple of friends that had gone to law school, and they just kind of sat me down, talked with me a lot about it, and it just kind of seemed something that seemed somewhat natural for me. So I took the LSAT, managed to pass it, applied, and managed to get into UNM. So I kind of figured I may as well
That's a
do
pretty
it.
difficult test. I think someone, I was talking to someone, they said, no, that's not an easy test. You got to really study for it. Am I right?
You
Is
do
that-
have to study for
Okay.
the test, yeah.
Well, you have to study for everything, but then
Right.
LSAT, I think I think they want to understand that you have the general understanding.
It's a general understanding, and I think what they're looking for is your way of thinking going to be able to kind of mold into how law
Yeah, because
school's
not
gonna
everyone
work.
is built for law school.
Right.
They might be a very good engineer, but I don't think. So it's a good way to assess that, I think, because
Yeah.
I looked into that one time, and studying the Constitution, when you look into LSAT, you look at the test, and it looks pretty stringent in some ways, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't fun, and it happened to fall right on my birthday.
Oh, I
So
know.
that was a double whammy for me there.
Yeah. So you got into the law school thing there, and then you went to UNM, right? UNM Law.
Correct.
Right? And well, there's my music. I got 30 seconds when that comes on. But when we come back, we'll go a little bit more into like where the places you went, things like that.
Okay.
And your growth. And so that way they get to understand who the person is and everything. We always like to give them a good idea of who the individual is.
Fantastic.
We'll take a short break. We'll be back with Josh Boone.